Recently, as in about a week and a half ago, there were rumors of Razer releasing their very own Nintendo Switch killer. It was a patent that showed what looked to be a tablet with Joy-Cons that attached to the side of it, much like the Nintendo Switch. Turns out though, if you dig through the patent, it's actually for their phones and controllers that would attach to the side of their phone. Now, many outlets who reported on the Switch killer honestly believe that Razer doing an Android-based game console could possibly topple the Nintendo Switch. Now, I don't doubt the merits of cell phone gaming. In fact, I've been coming around to it quite a bit. But for $20, we can really see if this is actually going to be a Switch killer or not. So before me, as I said, we have really $20 of things that people most likely won't have, and then an Xbox controller. You only need any Bluetooth controller, so if you have a PlayStation 4, this will work just as well, hopefully. We're going to actually try this out now, because I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work. As you can imagine, in this process of getting this to any sort of Nintendo Switch-like quality is to pair our controller to our phone. Now, to do so is pretty straightforward. You just simply assign it in Bluetooth, and now the controller can control the phone. Cool. Now those two are going to stay synced until I tell them otherwise. That's one interesting side effect here. So we can just simply get our little grip thing, and one downside for sure is that the Razer phone, the button to unlock it is right there. Alright, and now I'm on the volume switch, so that's not good. So we're gonna have to offset everything ever so slightly. I think the way I had it was probably better this way. Alright, not bad, not a deal breaker, but definitely not desirable. But we can still set it up like this. That's pretty Switch-like. It's got its own kickstand. So with that, we should be able to launch a game and play away. So let's pick a game that should have controller support. Minecraft. Alright, so this game should have controller support out of the box, and would you look at that? It does! So, we're playing Minecraft. Why not? And that feels just like the Xbox. Okay, so this one has full compatibility. It's mainly the apps I'm worried about. So let's go ahead and pick another game that has controller support on another platform. I hope I tapped the right game. Yes, I did. All right. So this game is called Muse Dash. I actually have it on my PC, and it has controller support. Game. Off the bat. I may have to mute it. Holy crap, that was loud. Okay. Let's go ahead and mute it just because I don't necessarily... Okay. So it looks like this is working. Alright, let's just go to a basic song because I can't listen to it, so it's going to be entirely off of. Now, if I remember correctly, default left and right triggers were... Oh, my triggers do nothing. Alright. Looks like I got nothing. The game itself is running just fine, but the controller is not. Well, isn't that disappointing? Okay. So again, another game with no controller support off the bat, even though it probably should. Alright, so let's go ahead and just close out of it. So as you can see, our big problem here is very few of these games actually are set up to work with controller. This is Pokemon Go, and as you can see, I can't do anything. Now I kind of expected that because this is not the kind of game that should have controller support. But the other two should have. So, we're going to try something called key mapping. Oh, we got it. We did it! We totally remapped this game. Okay. So now we've got a game running that didn't have controller support out of the box. Now with controller support. And all we had to do is do something shady. So, interesting. All right, so now that we got that part figured out, we've got a grip, we can sort of play it on the go. Let's see if we can get this thing on the TV. All right, for this part, it's actually going to be pretty easy to see if this works. We plug this dongle into here, and then we plug this into here. And then we turn on the TV and hope that it displays out. Power at least, okay, what are you on? HDMI 1. That's where you're supposed to be. And would you look at that? My phone is on the TV, and let's go to that same game that we've already done the logging for. Alright, well, it sort of works. But there's definitely a delay. So, it's a couple days after I ran my little experiment there, and I needed this time to process this. You see, we hit our success conditions. We could use a controller on Android, and we could dock it to a TV. We could essentially get it to the point that it would start acting like a Nintendo Switch. But the lack of controller support became a serious issue, and we could use Octopus to get controller support onto games that didn't have it, but Octopus itself became an issue. You see, Octopus, what it does in order to make your phone think that you're tapping when you're pressing buttons is it creates a virtual machine that then runs a mirrored version of your phone, and wherever that server is in the world, it will actually cause latency. In fact, actually, that latency was so intense at times that I honestly found it unusable. I would not recommend using Octopus in order to do what I did to get games to work. And Nintendo games have such strong DRM that they prevent the use of a virtual machine to play their games. So in many ways, it didn't work, but it did work. It was a success, yet the overall objective failed. And I was seriously thinking about this for a while. The problem isn't the hardware, but rather development. So the thing holding smartphones back from being the console killer that the media believes that they could be is the content. The games that are being made for it, they are just not capable of matching the level of detail, the level of complexity, the controls of a game made for either consoles or the PC. Now, we were able to stream from this PC to the smartphone minus some little hiccups. Mainly if there's a differential in resolution, things go wrong. So switching the resolution to one closer made it less of a problem. And I do have the hardware to stream inside this house, but that is limited. You see, if I wanted to dock my phone to the TV and then stream it, I'd actually get a better result from the Steam Link that I already own, because then I could take advantage of the full gigabit network connectivity and I could have virtually no latency inside my setup if I did it that way. Versus the phone, which is still going to be limited. My phone can do 500 megabits a second, but I'm still limited over the Wi-Fi when I do things like streaming from my PC, which only means that things like Stadia would actually benefit from a hardline over Wi-Fi. So could this then become a Stadia thing? Could Stadia change the way that the smartphone works? And yes and no is a pretty accurate answer for that. Unless smartphones have the ability to be plugged in via Ethernet, I highly doubt that Stadia will make that big of a difference. So, I have to say, are smartphones capable of being a Nintendo Switch killer? Is resounding no. Although they are close to the capabilities of the Switch, they are nowhere close to the actual experience of it. Thank you guys for watching. Wolfie, out.